Happy Devil's Tuesday. This is The Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 301. Talking the renewed Devils and Rangers rivalry. I'm your host, Sam Woo. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios here in beautiful New Jersey. 2 days before the Devils take on the New York Rangers on Thursday night at the Rock. We'll be there for Game Day Live. Shorts Guy and I will get the party started at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to the Championship Plaza, and even Devil's Den store. Last night was kind of a bummer. I'm still bummed about it. But you got to have a short memory. This team's going to the playoffs, the New Jersey Devils, and so are the New York Rangers. Could this be a preview for round one against the hated rival across the Hudson River, the New York Rangers? And we've been saying it for years here on the podcast that you just simply do not lose to the New York Rangers. And this is a young New Jersey Devils team, and I think the renewed Devils-Rangers rivalry is going to be equally or even more intense than it ever was. Remember the 80s. John McMullen buying the team already. He was sick of the New York Rangers. Martin Brodeur, in his book, said that I hate the Rangers and so does Lou in his book. Remember 94. Or let's go back to 92. The bench clearing brawl. Game 6 at the Meadowlands. Scott Stevens was literally in the bench fight. It was, if you don't believe me, for those that are young viewers, young listeners, go to YouTube and just Google, or in the search in YouTube, just put New York Rangers, New Jersey Devils 1992 playoffs. You should see that video. I mean, you don't have all-out bench-clearing brawls in today's NHL, but the rivalry was intense. At the time, the Rangers had not won the Cup since 1940. The Devils, Rangers fans used to chant 19 never. And then 94 came. And it's still painful to this day to talk about 94, but because we're about nearly 30 years past it, the 94 was such a heartbreaker, especially for rookie goaltender Martin Brodeur at the time. But that summer of 94 sucked. But let me tell you, the summer of 95 was great, especially when it was a lockout year where being the Stanley Cup champion lingered. And remember the Nashville rumors in 95, Devils winning the Cup. And then there was a period of time between 97 and 2001 that the Devils were undefeated against the New York Rangers, as the Rangers were putting Band-Aid upon Band-Aid and just taking on back contracts. And they were not very good. The Devils were becoming a mini dynasty. But there was an unbeaten streak of nearly 4 or 5 years against the New York Rangers, to the point where I remember I was at that game when that streak ended, when the Rangers beat the Devils at the Meadowlands at Continental Airlines Arena. And I remember a couple Devils fans got complacent. I was hoping we could lose once, just to get the rivalry going. It's like, why would you say that? It was the dumbest thing I heard coming from a Devils fan years ago in the stands. Now, growing up in New Jersey, and I've said this many times, it sucked being a Devils fan because there was just one of us, and there were 20 Ranger fans because, like I've told this story many times before, and I'll tell it again, that basically there were more Ranger fans because they were on basic cable. And to get the New Jersey Devils, your parents had to pay extra for Sports Channel. It's simple as that. But moving on, the rivalry continued. And then in 2006, after losing to the Rangers back in 92 in the playoffs, 94 in the playoffs, 97 in the playoffs, if people don't remember, I don't know if people remember this, but the Devils in that playoff series, I think, had probably about 8 goals called back in that series. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But 2005, 2006, the emergence of Henrik Lundqvist. And the Devils actually swept the Rangers. And Shorts Guy, co-host of the Let's Go Devils podcast Sunday edition, was at that game in 2006, Game 4, where Madison Square Garden turned out to be Continental Airlines Arena for one game, as the Devils swept the New York Rangers. And that's when Ken Klee on the New Jersey Devils outscored Jaromir Jagr 1-0. Then fast forward, I believe it was 2008 playoffs. The New York Rangers and Devils. Lundqvist getting revenge. And remember Sean Avery, the pest of pests. Sean Avery, the Avery rule, if you remember those days. Devils lost that series. But let's now go to 2012. It was redemption for Marty Brodeur, winning that Game 6 at the Rock. I was there. It was a surreal day. The intensity of the night before Game 5, where if you go back, you can find it on YouTube. Ranger fans in Game 5 at Madison Square Garden were just taunting Marty Brodeur, chanting Marty, Marty, Marty. Literally, there were suits. And I've always said that Madison Square Garden is really just, arena to impress your boss if you're lucky enough to go to a game, a Rangers game, with your boss. I mean, there were people with shirt and ties hanging off of the luxury suite, just taunting Marty Brodeur. Chanting Marty, Marty, Marty. But Game 6, the Henrique It's Over by Doc Emmerich, no less, on national television, is a game that most Devils fans will never forget. Will never forget. But now the rivalry has been renewed. The past 5 drafts, you've seen Kako and Jack Hughes. Remember the Ranger fans cheering, thinking they got the better of the two in that draft, which is laughable. And somehow the Rangers had the first overall pick for Lafreniere. Devils having 3 picks. Alexander Holtz, Dawson Mercer, Shakir Mohammedoulin, which is now Timo Meyer. The Rangers got Schneider as well in that draft, kind of poaching him away from the New Jersey Devils, and some would say. But this rivalry is going to get really intense. And lucky for you, New Jersey Devils fans, Jack Hughes, I believe, understands the rivalry. Jack Hughes is a Ranger killer. Jack Hughes performs very well against the New York Rangers, which we would expect him to do this Thursday. The Rangers are not that far apart in the standings. They're all vying at least home ice advantage in the first round. I'm not sure if either team can catch up to Carolina at this point, but if you look at the standings right now, as it stands, as we're doing this podcast, Carolina has 72 games played at 103 points. The New Jersey Devils, 100 points with 74 games played. And the Rangers, 73 games played, 96 points, right on the Devils' tail. After making tremendous amount of trades. They're all in now. Right now, as we speak, they're up against the BJs, the Blue Jackets, 3-2. As the Blue Jackets are on a power play at the moment. Lightning are beating the Carolina Hurricanes 1-0, as the Hurricanes, coincidentally, is on the power play. But Thursday's game has playoff implications. You want to have home ice advantage in the first round. You don't want to give that away. But does it really matter? That's a good question. That's a very good question. Seeing some of the comments. If anybody have any questions, you can go on our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. Our Facebook page, at Let's Go Devils Podcast. And on Twitter, at Let's Go Devils Pod. Kodak says, I don't know. The Devs are road warriors. Yes, they are, but they also could win at home as well. Shane Van Sickle says, going to be trash talking to my father-in-law and brothers-in-law. Shane Van Sickle, I think you should start disowning them at this point. No sense of keeping a relation with them. A random question by Selected Boy. Will Breland's number be retired anytime soon? I think it should be retired, but at the very least, possibly, they should have a ring of honor of players that meant a lot to the organization called the New Jersey Devils. Guys like Breland, Jay Pandolfo. I would even put John McLean in there as well from the old days. Steve Engel says Breland was a fourth liner. He ain't getting retired. Chico Resch. Yeah, Chico Resch is right now talking with the Devils fan club right now, which is pretty cool. If you haven't joined the Devils fan club, you should do it. Trudy is a friend of the podcast. We talk to Trudy every once in a while. Scott Gomez, question mark. I just didn't like how he bolted to the Rangers, but, Bobby Holik did the same thing as well. Selected Boy says, how nasty is the rivalry going to be? It's going to be nasty. And I hope the boys, the Devils, step it up. I hope they bring their A game. I hope they bring the beef and put it all on the line. They've got the size, but use it. And you're going to see this, the intensity. The Devils and Ranger fans going at it. We shall see. We shall see. But there's something that the Devils fans have done in the past 20 years that we've grown up. We have a faction of the fan base that only knows New Jersey Devils hockey. Growing up, I'm older than the Devils. But our fan base has matured. I've grown up. And they're going to bring it. Ted1775, how to join that fan club. Go to devilsfanclub.org. I believe that's the website. You can sign up. Google it. That's what I do as well. Pay your dues. And then just enjoy their company. They do road trips as well. All sorts of fun stuff. I haven't been to one of their events since pre-pandemic. Select the Boy says, I wish we did a tribute for Blake Coleman years ago. Yeah, I kind of wish Blake Coleman was on this team. But yeah, the rivalry will be renewed. It will be American Whiskey. Notice the logo in the back right now on the camera feed as well. Shorts Guy and I were talking about it. It's going to be intense on Thursday. Come join in on the fun, whether you have a ticket or not. American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza. It's going to be a great time, folks. And we'll have some stuff on the TV when Scott Niedermayer was kicking the Rangers jersey, that iconic photo. Maybe I'll play the loop of Madison Square Garden getting blown up in that movie Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. Forgot what it's one of those Godzilla movies. Steve Engel's chirping in the YouTube Live. I just hope the Devils put up a good fight on Thursday and win the game. They're going to get a taste of what this rivalry is like now that both teams are going to be in the playoffs, and both teams are very good right now. I'm sure Ranger fans are nervous about playing the New Jersey Devils, and I'm sure New Jersey Devils fans are nervous of playing the New York Rangers. You simply do not lose to the New York Rangers. Because I think it would take a step back of all the progress that the New Jersey Devils have made. But it's going to be an intense series if it boils down to it. New York versus New Jersey. But we shall see. I want to thank all those tuning in on this Woo Report on a is it Monday or Tuesday? Yeah, it's a Tuesday night. Sorry. Got my days mixed up. Tomorrow I'll be at American Whiskey setting up, but doing State of the Fan Address with Nick Villano of pucksandpitchforks.com. We'll have a special guest on tomorrow's podcast, and also Thursday, Game Day Live and Devils After Dark, before and after the Devils take on the New York Rangers. I hope to see you there, folks. Whether you have a ticket or not, you should come join in on the fun. Ted is saying, I'm thinking of going to AW on Thursday. Do it, Ted. We got to fill up our building and we got to fill up our bar with New Jersey Devils fans on Ranger Hate Day. And we got to show the Ranger, we want to be intimidating. That it is our building and we are going to be intimidating. And Steve Engel's right. There's going to be a lot of Ranger fans there because they bought lots of the tickets at the start of the year. And trust me, you got to watch out for the a-hole factor because you got a lot of them in that thick New York accent. Let's go Rangers! You know, yelling, screaming, obnoxious stuff just to really piss you off. Ignore it. The best thing you can do is cheer for your team and just be equally as annoying. And then, Joe, watch out those Rangers, Joe. Oh, we sold out your old building. Yet, if you remember earlier in the year, it sounded like the Prudential Center at Madison Square Garden. Yes, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous train station. Even the city wants to blow it up and put a train station there. The Rangers will be homeless eventually. That's what they say. All righty, hitting the music right now. It was a good Woo Report. Glad that you listening in on all the social media channels. Dropping the podcast at midnight for your morning and afternoon commute. Again, we'll be live from American Whiskey tomorrow for State of the Fan Address. Nick Villano at pucksandpitchforks.com. Calm before the storm. Before the Devils take on the New York Rangers. Bring your A game, folks. Bring your A game. Till next time, this is the Woo Report. Let's go, Devils.